This is the definitive best ongoing manga of 2023. You don't need to read any other manga at all. If there's a series I didn't put on this list, then stop reading it right now. It's trash and it is not worth your time. Welcome my gamers, I'm Nick. 2 million likes for the best completed manga video. That shouldn't be too hard. And thank you guys for watching, and here's number 5. Fight the power! So I'm starting things off with a pretty quintessential series for any manga reader, Jujutsu Kaisen. Whether you like it or you think it's mid, you gotta admit that at this point it really has made a name for itself as a really solid shonen with a darker tone like a lot of the other bangers that we've seen come out during this phase. So here we got Itadori Yuji eating fingers and having the king of all curses Sukuna live inside him. The premise alone is nuts, but when you combine that with Akutami's sketchy and really stylized art, the non-stop action giving us downtime only when we really need it, and the in-depth power system close to something like Hunter x Hunter, and just a huge cast of really cool characters. I mean, this manga isn't reinventing the wheel or anything with its storytelling, and it knows that, but everything it does and every step it takes, it just does so unapologetically. I love how Akutami builds these characters up so well just to bring them all crashing down. I don't want to spoil anything really, but this story does get crazy after the next big arc in the anime. The Shibuya incident seriously goes nuts. And if you thought the series was already dark, the Shibuya incident is just 58 entire chapters of some of the most hardcore shit that I've read in manga. Season 2 is coming soon, and I cannot wait to see how people finally react to this, and just to finally see like these fast-paced awesome fights in motion. I really feel like at this point the hype for JJK has died down, but once this anime comes back, I feel like everybody's gonna remember why Jujutsu Kaisen was so good. And it's sad to say, this manga as well as the next entry too are both supposed to conclude sometime in 2023, and only time will tell if they'll still hold up when it's all over. I will admit the series isn't for everybody, but it still kinda has something for everyone, if that makes sense. Eden Zero, from Hiromashima of Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is really loved and hated by many, but any complaints you could have about his previous series are like directly improved upon in this manga. Shiki Granbell has the power of gravity, which just makes for insane flashy fights and really cool moments. We're adventuring different planets and going to different galaxies, making new friends and growing our crew all along the way. The world is interesting and these characters are just so lovable and they feel so real, at least compared to like his more one-note characters in his previous works. And my biggest thumbs up of all is just the pacing. Every volume is basically its own entire arc with some exceptions, and in general just helps the story feel less bloated and drawn out in parts where it really doesn't need to be. You can get a lot of entertainment out of just one volume, and every volume is just a whole new adventure, so it always feels fresh. My only complaint would be that some arcs are really cool, but I wish we had more time to flesh everything out and learn more about the world and just spend more time just in this situation right here. But yeah, I love this manga. Without my own personal bias, I think this manga is close to like an 8 out of 10, but I mean, it's still a 10 out of 10, freak off. And I probably wouldn't put this on the list if we didn't get the new chapter to the new part in February, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's still ongoing, and the 9th part, titled JoJo Lands, is starting off so strong already. This one's set in Hawaii, the main character's name is Dio Joestar, and it seems like we're gonna be involved in like crimes and gangs, similar to stuff we were doing in part 5. JoJo Lands is a story about getting incredibly rich in the subtropics, and we're just here to see how Jodio ends up getting there. I feel like this part is gonna have some sort of connections to other parts, at least with like part 8 and some plot threads that I feel like didn't get too completed. But so far I've had a great time just reading and thinking about where we're gonna go from here. I don't want to go into too much detail if you haven't read the part 9 yet, but I do have a lot of thoughts in it already. I did just make a video talking about the chapter 1, and I plan on talking about the new chapters as they come out, so if you're interested, check me out. And of course this manga is on here. I mean, honestly, what did you expect? So yeah, number 2 is Chainsaw Man. There's so much to love about this series, whether it's the fast-paced, non-stop action, these huge bloody battles that are over as soon as Denji pulls that fucking cord, or these interesting but really weird and complex characters. Part 1 is already a great complete story, but part 2 is coming out now, and even with this new cast of characters, it still feels just as weird as ever. Fujimoto has just raised the bar even more with this one. I will elaborate a bit, but I don't want to spoil for anybody not reading part 2 yet. Asa, our main character, is not a very liked person. Chapter 1, her devil hunting class gets a pet chicken and they eventually have to kill. Asa is jealous that this thing's getting more attention than her, but then when it comes time to kill it, the class decided that the chicken was their friend, they didn't want to. Asa is really sad until Bucky the chicken opens up a bit to her and really just brightens up her day. Yeah, but then right in front of everybody, Asa is holding the chicken and she trips and falls over, and then its guts are on the pavement. Now, everyone really hates Asa because she just killed their new friend. Everybody liked Bucky, so whenever whenever that happened and Asa goes home and she's already like panicked and nervous and nobody already likes her, this just gives them even more of a reason not to like her. So much so that one of her classmates comes over and finds her at night and kills her. Asa's life was over, and then like right before she fades to darkness, she sees a little birdie, and then it says that she'll give her life in exchange for her body. So Asa gives up her body and she ends up giving it up to the War Devil. And she goes by Yoru, and now she is sharing a body with Asa. These two drastically different people with drastically different goals have to now work together. And our new main characters, Yoru and Asa, are just a great duo. I'm really interested in like the psychology of these characters. A bit of a tangent, but I want to relate these characters to some other characters that I really like. Whether you know them or not, just let me explain. Hanamichi from Slam Dunk and Suguru from Kinnikuman. So both of these characters in their respective series think that they're just the best and the coolest, and they want to show off, but in the end they end up like falling on their face every time. And they keep falling on their faces to the point where when you watch these guys, you really just feel bad for them. But it's that moment when they do finally get a good play in, or they save the day, or make everybody proud. It is seriously the best feeling when they finally get that moment. So to relate it back to Chainsaw Man, I think in the same way, like, Asa is a little weirdo, but you really want to see her succeed, and she is constantly making the clearly wrong move. Every step Asa takes is just digging her own grave deeper and deeper when she's already trapped in this really messed up, unwinnable situation. Yep, number one is One Piece. I mean, there's seriously just so much to love about this manga. Every arc has an entirely different vibe and drastically different plot points. Things are consistently being built up, there's corruption and conspiracies that run so deep you have no idea where it ends. Even when Luffy goes up to bring down the biggest, baddest dude, it still feels like there's still so much more room to go. There are so many emotional moments throughout, it's fun, it's hype, it's sad, and these are things you could put on any manga, but I think One Piece takes every one of these aspects and turns it all the way up to like 110%. I'm consistently thinking about One Piece. There's so much to unpack inside of every single chapter. I try to put the anime on to go to sleep, and in the most random, obscure episodes, I find like some deep, like, foreshadowing lore that I never noticed before. There are a ton of mysteries that just run so deep in the story, and we're constantly getting these satisfying and literally world-changing revelations. Just so much thought goes into every single little aspect of this manga. You can reread any single chapter and find so much more information on retrospect. Oda is just a master at laying hands in every single place he can, and like so obvious that you don't even notice. And really, you don't even have to be interested in seeing how like literally everything in the story connects. Even just on the surface level, this is still just as enjoyable. This series builds things up and promises huge payoffs from the very beginning, and every time it follows through, another massive plot point just steps up to take its place, making the last one we just went through feel insignificant in comparison. People complain about the length of One Piece, which is already over 100 volumes at this point, but it would be up to like 130 volumes of material already, if all the in-depth lore from the SBS section, in between all the boob jokes of course, and all the canonical and very relevant story arcs that are hidden away in the simple color pages we're told normally in the manga. I don't think it'd be much of a stretch at all to call this series a masterpiece. I seriously don't think another series comes close in terms of shonen or anything. It makes me laugh, it makes me cry, and it seriously reminds me why I love manga. Broken Usopp are my favorite Straw Hats, Bonkle-chan and Bartolomeo are just my favorite period. I want to know who's your favorite from One Piece, and what's your favorite ongoing manga. Come catch me chilling live sometime, and have a great day.